Hey, Gearaholic here, and today I'm going to be doing a review over what I take in my everyday hiking backpack. Normally when I go out on my hiking, basically I have a few set things that I take with me. I try to keep it really simple and really lightweight, and basically I'm going to be going over my system and how I do it and what I usually take with me and what I feel is important. Alright guys, so the first section is going to be about backpacks. Let's take a look at what I usually take. So it just depends on your loadout and the different possibilities in which you're going to be taking things. This is the Kelty Drifter. I've had this backpack for a really long time. It's seen a lot of usage, a lot of play. I've worn it quite a bit, and it's actually one of my favorite outdoor backpacks, especially if I'm just doing a lightweight, you know, maybe a couple of hours out on the trail. You can still haul enough gear with it that you're not going to be overloading yourself, but at the same time, it's nice and fun to take along. The Kelty REDTAIL. This is a pretty awesome backpack. Honestly, I've had it for probably about a year or so now, and really, I really like taking this one out because it can haul a lot of stuff with it, but at the same time, I can pack it out really light because it almost doesn't weigh hardly anything. So it's kind of a nice backpack to have, especially as a middle ground. You know, so that way in case I run into a situation where I need to take something with me, maybe I find like a resource that I want to use, plants, whatever, rocks, you know, wood, you know, if I need to pack something out, you know, I can do so with this backpack. So I can actually utilize the space with this backpack a little bit more. And this one I really like, and I'll probably do a review over this specific backpack in the future. Okay, so the second category I would start thinking about is going to be water. So when you're out on the trail, you obviously want to take a lot of water with you. Depending on your circumstances and your ability to reach water, I would say that that's going to be one of your most important factors. So I personally like to take with me water bags. So this is a water bladder bag by Source. It's a really great water bag. It's actually the military grade style, so it's got a military grade cap here. The guys in the military obviously love these things because they're really hardcore. They're really great for durability standards, and they hold a lot of water. I think this thing holds 2.5 liters worth of water, which is a lot more than just this one, you know, liter. You know, so it's kind of a cool, I think it's a kind of a cool option. I just think it makes it too easy too, because all you got to do is take this and pop it in your mouth, and you know, that's it. You're good to go. You are carrying a little bit more weight though when you carry these, so it just depends on how much water you want to take. So it's kind of one of those options that you can consider, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so this next section is going to be a little bit different. Normally what I do is I usually take some sort of rope or strands or something with me, just in case I have to make a temporary, you know, like a temporary setup lean-to, or if I have to do something, if I end up getting trapped out for a lot longer than I think, maybe if I want to make some shade or something and I know it's not going to harm the environment, I'll usually maybe use some 550 paracord. This particular model is the military grade, so it's got the yellow with black, so you can use it for map measurements, which is another reason why I like carrying the military grade stuff. There's a lot of companies out there like Rothco that carry, they call it military brand 550 cord, but when you open it up, it only has these white strands and it doesn't have a middle brand. Of course, I don't normally trust the Rothco brand. I just have my personal preferences about it. I prefer getting the military grade stuff. Like it, but basically I use the military grade stuff just because I know that this stuff can actually hold 550 pounds, whereas the stuff that you can get on the civilian market can't really hold that much. So that's one of those options to think about. Normally I usually carry about 50 feet of paracord with me, and that's just like the just in case kind of stuff, and it really doesn't weigh anything, especially when you have it in this kind of configuration, and I just kind of literally just looped it over itself. This is called jute twine. A lot of people probably know about jute twine. This really tough rope. I mean, this stuff really holds its weight. You know, you can really pull on it. It's really lightweight. And the great part about it is you cut a section off and you can basically ball it up into just like a little nest. You know, you can pick all these strands apart and you can kind of make a little tinder bundle. So that way when you either use a lighter or whatever, it takes a flame really nice. So it's actually a multi-usage kind of rope. So it's like kind of one of those things I like to carry with me. I don't always carry it with me, but it's always one of those options that's on my table. So that's just kind of my brief overview of you know, rope and things that I usually carry with me. I don't usually take too much with me because I know that if I run into a situation, you know, and it's kind of like, how much rope do I really need? You know, So I only take really what I think I'm gonna need. And normally it's like 50 feet. Or I think this actually might be 30 feet, if I remember correctly. So 30 feet worth of 550 cord. So next on my list is going to be headlamps. So I only have one headlamp really that I really like to use. I've been really digging the Princeton Tech Remix lately. This has been one of my favorite brands. They really know how to make flashlights. These things are really durable. I really like this headlamp. It's super lightweight. It doesn't hardly weighs anything, and it really packs down into my bag really well. And the reason why I take a headlamp, even if I'm going out for the day and I know I'll be back before nighttime, if something were to happen to me and I become like unable to move or I become lost or something, it's always good to have a headlamp just in case you have to walk out. Or if you need to notify somebody of where your position is. And because it has many different multifunction lights, basically it's just one of those great tools to have. And you can also have the option of carrying extra batteries. I normally don't because I don't think I'm going to be out for that long. And honestly, if I'm out long enough that I run out of batteries for my headlamp, usually I'm starting to call someone and let them know where I'm at. And I always usually let people know where I'm going even before I leave. So I usually always tell one or two people where I'm going to be, just so that way they know. So that way if they don't hear from me by a specific time, and I'll give a specific time, like, hey, if I'm not back by whatever, send the army. If you haven't heard from me and you can't get a hold of me, just send the world to my location or where you think I am, and they'll be able to find me real quick. So that's just one of my options that I keep always in my bag. And even when I go out during the daytime, I'll throw my headlamp in there just in case. It's always one of those tools. You just never know when you're going to need it, and it's always going to be there in your bag. So that's one of those good options to have. Okay. Next section is going to be over fire, or some sort of way to create any kind of signal around you. Most people can carry mirrors or whatever. I don't normally do that because I just don't feel like you're ever going to really necessarily need to use a mirror to signal anybody. That's just my honest thoughts. In most survival situations, they always say that fire is a big morale booster. So even if you're able to create a small one, there's two things that it does. One, it boosts morale, and then two, you can also increase your chances of being found because somebody's going to see that smoke or that fire from a distance, even in the dark, and be able to, kind of pinpoint your location, so it kind of makes things a lot easier. So you're not just relying on your headlamp or your flashlight as your backup. You're also using fire as a tool to signal your location. But basically what I normally carry with me is I usually take some sort of fire steel. So this is just, I think this is the Light My Fire steel. This is the Army model. So it's just a really simple, this is a Scout model. This is just a really simple fire steel, and I have actually coated it with clear nail polish sealer, and that kind of keeps it from corroding, so it can actually get wet and all that, and it's not going to corrode or do anything funky, because that was one of my modifications. I actually have a video about that. So I usually carry one of those, and I always take a lighter with me, because when you're cold or if you're tired or something, starting a fire sometimes like this really sucks. So you have to really be skilled at starting a fire like this, to really be able to do it when you're really exhausted and tired. I'm pretty skilled at it, so I would say that I'd most likely go with this, but I do keep a lighter with me. Normally it's just a small Bic lighter in my bag, so that way it just makes things a lot easier. But normally what I do is I have an Altoid small tin can with cotton balls in it, and I can just pick these apart and use sections of the cotton ball. And I think I have probably about 15 or 20 stuffed in here, really, really tight, and that works really well for me. And I also have that backup jute twine if I need to, and then I can basically just stuff it all in and seal it up. And then I have a Ranger Band rubber ring with me that I just throw around the whole thing just to kind of keep it secure. And you can use that rubber to start fire if you need to, using the lighter. So it's kind of one of those multi-function things, and that's usually my fire system that I take with me. So last but not least is going to be the knife section. Now, it's probably the section you guys have been most waiting for, because honestly it's the most section that I like to go over. And I usually take about 3 knives with me. There's my primary, my secondary, and then my tertiary or third backup blade that I normally like to carry. I usually carry 3 just because, 1 is none, 2 is 1, and then 3 is you're just ready to rock and roll, in my opinion. So obviously you want to take a fixed blade if you want to take a fixed blade. You can take a fixed blade with you. This is just a MORA, just a regular MORA 511. Another knife that you guys might want to consider that's a fixed blade is some sort of like just a really simple scout knife. So this is just the ESEE CANDIRU blade that I've made a simple sheath for, neck sheath. And basically I use this knife all the time. I mean, a lot. Especially when I'm out on the trail. It's just so lightweight, and I know that I can depend on it in like a pinch for any kind of food prep or whatever. I usually always keep this blade with me. I always love the outdoor blades. Any kind of folder I think is a really good option. This is just a Rat Model 2 by Ontario. So it's one of those kind of like opinionated type deals. Do you want something small like a buck Vantage, or do you want something a little bit bigger like a Rat 2 or Rat 1? It's really your choice of blade. Those are just kind of options I kind of threw up on the table. And then to top that all off, I usually take some sort of either multi-tool or a smaller blade, and this normally stays in my backpack, or it may go on my person just depending on how I feel. And I mean, these are just really good options. This is just a Swiss Army knife Cadet that I had. It's a really good blade, nice and strong. It's actually got multi-tools on it, so you can kind of do a lot. You kind of have a lot more options to kind of think about. And then obviously I have a cold steel RECON micro, which is kind of fun. I always take this thing, and this thing is awesome. I mean, as far as like little survival blade or something, this is really great to go in some sort of survival kit. I would honestly recommend that for a survival kit. And this is just a little buck knife. I don't even remember what model this is. This is a really good knife. It's really sharp. Made out of I think it's like 420J steel on it. So it's it's like your options of knives. It's always going to be your opinion. So I didn't mean to be so long-winded about it, but I just wanted to show you guys some options and definitely the stuff that I like to take out on the trail. And these are probably some of my most used and well-loved knives in my entire collection. So the last and final thing I want to go over with you guys is the last most important tool that you should probably always carry with you, especially even if you're going out on trail. And it's always good because it's good practice, is what I've been presenting on in the background has been the primary tool that I use almost all the time. It's going to be the map. It's a topographical map of a specific location. Basically, I always carry a topographical map with me and some sort of compass, whether it's a cheapo, whether it's a cheapo Walmart compass or a really expensive military compass. I have usually always some sort of compass with me, and I mean, really, just having a general direction and an understanding of how to orient yourself on a map is, I think, one of the most important things you can have. You got to have a map with you. It's really important to have a map. There's a lot of guys I see that do these gear reviews about their everyday hiking, travel, whatever gear, and it's like, where's the map? There's no map in there. How are you going to find your way around unless you know it like the back of your hand, which I highly doubt. Even the most skilled people that have lived in areas, their entire lives, still don't know every single area and every single nook and cranny and know every single hill and hilltop or tree line or whatever. So it's just one of those good things to have, in an emergency. It's like better to have it and have an understanding of where you are or where you're going rather than not. So in conclusion, basically, with all the gear that you see behind me, basically what we're looking at here is we're looking at about 3 pounds worth of gear. And that's me doing my measurements with me weighing myself without the backpack and weighing myself with the backpack. And that's on a scale. So basically what I'm trying to explain is the backpack probably weighs the most because of the water source that I've chosen, which is going to be the source water bladder bag that I talked to you guys about earlier. But basically that's all I have to say for now. Gearaholic, and you watched a Gearaholic review on my day pack and what I use when I usually go hiking. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know and I'll be more than happy to answer them. All right, you guys have a wonderful one, and be safe and try not to cut yourselves. All right, Gearaholic out.